Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another video, and today's video is the third installment of This Week in Sports. I'll be going over the St. Louis Cardinals being canceled, news in basketball, as well as who's going at the 8th seed in the West, and interesting developments of the NHL seeding games. I also would like to wish everyone a happy Sneak a Zucchini onto your neighbor's porch today. It's a national holiday, apparently, and I was informed by one of my cousins. So if you have a neighbor and a zucchini, then sneak some zucchini onto your neighbor's porch. It just might make their day. And put a little note on it saying what day it is, because otherwise they might be really confused. Or they'll still be really confused, but just slightly less. So I hope that you guys do participate in that event, because it is a interesting holiday. So to go right to the MLB. We have some coronavirus news with the Miami Marlins being back on schedule. They are 4-0 in their last 4 games since August 4th when they're allowed to return. And the St. Louis Cardinals have been canceled this time around now. Their series with the Cubs has been stopped, and the Cardinals have had 2 players and a staff member get coronavirus this week, and a total of 8 players in all. I don't know how this is going to affect the full season of the MLB. I really hope that they can continue, but considering they're not in a bubble and the rest of the league is, or the rest of the other leagues like the NHL and the NBA, we're not sure how this is going to affect the league. But if enough teams keep getting this postponement, then there might be more of an issue than we think there is. So I personally hope that baseball continues, but I really don't know what's next for the league. So we can just hope for the best and hope that this doesn't happen to any more teams. Alyssa Nakken, who is a first base coach for the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants, is the first assistant coach, female assistant coach in MLB history, and her jersey was moved to Cooperstown a couple weeks ago. I didn't cover this last week because I didn't hear about it, so I'm covering it this week. This is a great thing. I'm glad that they're finally getting more women involved in the coaching staff in sports. And her jersey being moved to Cooperstown is just a cementing of the fact that there's more diversity, and people are looking towards more diversity. Christian Yelich hit an inside the park home run. Those are not very common, so it was an interesting thing that I just decided to throw in there. And the top 4 teams above 700 are the Marlins, the Twins, the Cubs, and the Rockies. The Marlins were not above 700 the last time I made one of they's videos. They now are, because they were 2-1, and then they won 4 in a row, which makes them 6-1. Actually, they're 6-1. So that's my baseball news. Let's move on to basketball. So the Raptors were 3-0 in the bubble, and then in an unexpected twist last night, the Celtics went in and they completely destroyed them. It was 91-57 with a 34-point lead by the Celtics at the end of the third, and then they just kind of dozed off, and the Raptors came back about 12 points in the fourth quarter, but it was over. The game was just complete and utter disarray for the Raptors. Also beat the Nets pretty handily in a 149-119 final score 2 days earlier. I'm personally a Celtics fan, and I'm excited for this season because it sounds like we're finally getting into a groove. And after the loss to the Bucks and the loss to the Heat, I'm glad to see our season starting to turn around. The 4-0 Suns are fighting for that last playoff spot. And so how that last playoff spot works is the 8th seed needs to win by 4 games. In the West, that's not happening. In the West, there are 6 teams within 4 games. So the likelihood of any one of them getting 4 games ahead is almost impossible at this point. The 8th seed and the 9th seed will play 2 elimination games. Well, not 2, but they'll play a double elimination round. And how the double elimination round works is the 9th seed already has a strike. The 8th seed has already beaten the 9th seed in one game is how they're calling it. And then if the 9th seed wins 2 games in a row, then they move on to the playoffs. If the 8th seed wins 1 game, then they move on to the playoffs. So the 8th seed has a major advantage there, but the 9th seed can still win if they win 2 games in a row. And it looks like the Suns, who are 2.5 games behind the 8th seed, if they can move into that 9th rank, then they have a serious chance of making it to the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to watch their season continue and how their bubble bouncing is going, and not blundering like the Raptors. And Damian Lillard had an incredible game that I wanted to point out. He had 4 rebounds, 12 assists, 11 3-pointers, and 45 points. This was one of the highlights of the week, and I figured that it would be something fun to share with you all. Next, we have the NHL round robin results. The East qualifier games were the Penguins versus the Canadiens, the Hurricanes versus the Rangers, the Islanders versus the Panthers, and the Maple Leafs versus the Blackhawks. The Penguins lost to the Canadiens, even though the Penguins were the 5 seed and the Canadiens were the 12 seed. The Hurricanes beat the Rangers and the Islanders beat the Panthers. Those are all clinched games. Those are all decided. The Maple Leafs and the Blue Jackets, however, are not decided. The Blue Jackets are winning 2-1, but it's not set in stone yet. But we can expect the Blue Jackets to win the series. In the West, the Oilers versus the Blackhawks, the Predators versus the Coyotes, the Canucks versus the Wild, and the Flames versus the Jets. The Blackhawks have won their series. The Coyotes have won their series. I believe the Canucks versus the Wild is not decided yet, but I'm not saying that. I'm not 100% positive. I don't believe that's decided, but don't take my word for that. It very well could be. And the Flames versus the Jets. The Flames won that series. The top 4 in the East. The Lightning and the Flyers are going to play a play-in game to see who's 1 and who's 2, and the Bruins and the Capitals are going to play a game to see who's 3 and who's 4. But the Bruins lost to both the Lightning and the Flyers, and the Capitals lost to both the Lightning and the Flyers as well. That's too bad for me personally because I'm a Bruins fan, and they had the best record in the league by 6 games. Before the whole thing started, or by 6 points before the whole thing started, and I really was hoping to see the Bruins light it up in the bubble, but it's not a bubble. It's not as much of a bubble as basketball is, but it's too bad to see, to be completely honest. In the West, because we also lost last year in the finals, so hopefully we can make it back this year and win, but you really never know. The West top 4 are the Golden Knights and the Avalanche, who have beaten both the Stars and the Blues twice. So it's the same situation. Surprisingly, there weren't any situations where, like, the Lightning won 2, the Flyers and the Bruins won 1, and the Capitals lost 2 or something. It was all win 2 and lose 2, and that's just how it ended up. And so they both need to play play-in games. The Knights and Avalanche are playing for first. The Stars and Blues are playing for third. So that's how the NBA, the NHL round robin and play-in games are working. There's 4 teams looking for qualifiers in the East of the West, and there are 4 teams fighting for the top 4 spots. So there will be 8 playoff teams in total for both sides. Last but not least, we have the NFL news, and this shocked me a little bit. Over the last couple of days, there have been a lot of things coming out about NFL players and the law. DeAndre Baker is facing 10 years in prison for 4 counts of armed robbery. His alibi is that he was playing Madden in the other room when the things were going on. So I really don't know what to think about this. They're doing an investigation right now, trying to figure out a legal investigation, trying to figure out what the heck actually happened, because his alibi is that he was playing Madden in the other room while the things were being stolen, and they're trying to get records from the game system saying that he was doing that. I have no idea. That's just what I heard. Quentin Dunbar was also charged with armed robbery. The charges against him were dropped, but there is still an investigation going on into whether or not he will be suspended for a certain length of the season. So, news on that, I will get to you as it comes in. Darius Guice, or Guice, however you say it, of the Washington Redskins, is a running back, and he was cut from the team for his domestic violence allegations. He has 3 counts of assault and battery and 1 destruction of property allegation against him at this point in time. And that's an interesting development because he was going to be a very crucial part to the Redskins offense, and that he's just not going to be there this season. So, it's too bad for him, it's too bad for anyone that he attacked, it's too bad for the Redskins and the Washington football team, and it's too bad for the league in general. It's a shame to see things like this happen, and I'm sorry that 3 of them happened all around the same time. There is new Antonio Brown speculation that he may be going to the Packers. I personally don't see it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will want to deal with him after seeing what happened when he was in New England. I think that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady think alike, and if Aaron Rodgers saw that he went into New England and then went right back out, he's not going to want to have Antonio Brown. They're both veteran quarterbacks, they both know what's good for them, and although Tom Brady was excited to have him, it just didn't work out. And it'll be interesting to see where he does end up going, if he does end up going anywhere. As far as the NFL league opt-out decisions, there are 67 total players opting out of the league. 8 of them are Patriots, which is the highest of any other team by far. And another interesting development I wanted to mention is Devontae Parker. So Devontae Parker is the starting wide receiver of the Dolphins. And Allen Hurns and Albert Wilson, their number 2 and number 3 wide receivers, I believe, both opted out of the season. So if you guys are playing fantasy sports, then make sure that you get Devontae Parker, because I believe he'll have an incredible season being the number 1 wide receiver for the Dolphins. He had a pretty great season at the end of the year last year, while they were still there, with Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the rock to him. And with him and Tua Tagovailoa, depending on who's going to be starting which games, I can see Devontae Parker racking in some major fantasy football points. So make sure that you check him out, see if he's someone you're interested in getting for fantasy, because he could be a really helpful player that you could get in a later round. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. I make one every week, every Saturday, so check back next Saturday for another This Week in Sports. If you're interested in participating in Sneak a Zucchini onto your neighbor's porch day, that's completely up to you. Let me know in the comments below if you did do that, because I think that would be hilarious if we got a whole bunch of people to sneak a zucchini onto their neighbor's porch. And thank you guys for watching. Please like the video and subscribe if you're into this kind of content. I do post new videos every day. Check out some of my other videos if you're interested in football stats and analytics. That's most of my channel because that's what the sport I'm most competent in. But I do like making these other videos where I explain what's going on in the world of other sports, so that other people who like other sports can still get their fill of news. So thank you guys for watching and have a nice day. I'm MLB Sports. Peace out.